This is a Power 98.7 podcast. Now we're talking. Subscribe to Power 98.7 podcasts in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. There's more on power987.co.za.
33 minutes after 1, welcome back to the PowerZone with me, Nompumelelo Ngubeni, and we are about to explore some opportunities for economic growth for women this morning with Clement Chauke, who's Build One South Africa's parliament candidate. Very good morning to you, Clement. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning to you too, Nompumelelo, and your listeners. And thanks for having me on your platform this morning.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for staying up. Now,
yes.
Launching this year's Women's Month in KZN, Nomusa Ngubeni, who is the Premier of KZN, said that one of the major focus will be that of acceleration of socioeconomic programs and activities across different economic sectors. And this was with the idea of fast-tracking gender mainstreaming across these initiatives, as well as to create more opportunities for women's inclusion and empowerment. I wanted to just start by reflecting on if this has been attained thus far.
Your line is a bit low.
Okay, so you could not hear any of what I said, Clement?
I can hear you, but it's a bit low. I'm losing you somewhere.
We'll try to raise my level slightly. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can repeat the question again.
So I was saying that when launching this year's Women's Month celebrations or commemoration, the Premier of KZN, Nomusa Ngubeni, highlighted that the focus this year would be to accelerate socioeconomic programs and activities across the different sectors to fast-track the gender mainstreaming across some initiatives. Where do we find ourselves with regards to accelerating socioeconomic opportunities for women?
I think that's far as you have said. The thing that already it's mentioned that they've been discussing, it's a program that is at play. I don't even want to say that it's new. We've been speaking about the reformation as a country for many years, transformation of policies for gender equality, especially when it comes to the socio-economic sector. So far, I will say a lot of work has been done, but there's still a lot that still needs to be done in our country.
All right. As BOSA, what is your plan?
As BOSA, our plan is, number one, we deem ourselves not as a government incoming. We are a government already that is at work.
Okay.
And the plan that is in motion is to do things in our communities, bring a change, become participants when it comes to transforming the township economy. And we do so by doing community workshops, programs that will enable young people in particular to have a skill and participate in the economic sector.
I mean, as a government already in work, there are some, I'm sure, tangible programs and initiatives that you've already launched and established in particular communities. I think I want you to be a little bit more practical and tell me about those that are currently running.
Yeah, the programs that we have, yesterday we were in Sophia Town. There was a workshop that was headed by both our political leaders, Musi Maimani and Nobuntu Webster. So in this program, what we do is we give community information about things regarding how to start your own business and how to get it registered to become efficient and recognized. And one of the things that was part and parcel of the program yesterday was to give the participants vouchers to can register their businesses with the CIPC.
All right, I like that. But what have you identified as some of the barriers then to industry in different sectors, Clement? Because, it's one thing to have a company registered and for women to try to get into various industry, but certainly there continues to be barriers. And then I also want to take a look at what BOSA is doing in terms of, all these jobs that are being created by government. How many of those are actually awarded to women, and at what cost? Is there a difference in pay between the ones that are given to men, for instance?
Yeah. So the barriers that we have identified, especially when it comes to access to technology. Most of communities, even today as we speak, they don't have access to internet. And one of the 10-point plans of BOSA is access to free Wi-Fi unlimited. So they've already done that in terms of free Wi-Fi, but it's limited. And when you go to other municipalities, they still struggle with things in terms of getting access to a free Wi-Fi. And the period that we are living in, of course, we all know that the economy is strongly driven by the fourth industrial revolution. And then if it's driven by the fourth industrial revolution and people don't have access to the free Wi-Fi, that makes our people to become incompetent in the stream of the fourth industrial revolution. So one of the things that we are advocating for, it is for the government to make sure that in all communities there's access to free Wi-Fi, so that women may have access to technology and be given skills, your computer literacy skills, and opportunities, of course, to can study in the IT department. So that's what we are looking forward to, making sure that the government in power, they give people, of course, Wi-Fi. As I've said, it is one of the 10-point plan of Build One SA.
And another one of your 10 points is engagements or consultations with SMMEs in a bit to understand how regulation aids, or I suppose inhibits, the growth of small businesses. Have those engagements started, and what results have they yielded?
Yeah, so the engagement, how we are doing it currently is, it's more of in a form of mentorship. Those who know about the business, who've been there for many years, we make sure that we build a relationship between the SMMEs and the businesses which have been established for many years. Because for anything to can succeed, there must always be a blueprint that is at play. So those who are the predecessors in the economic sector, if they come in play to mentor those who are taking off from the ground, it will enable, especially the township communities, it will enable them in terms of how to structure the township economy well, to have our own, I'm just looking for a proper term to use it, just to avoid advertising brands. But it has to do with ordering, let's say, your grocery online. We also need such apps which will benefit the community. So, yeah, in terms of mentorship so far, the program is unfolding well. Last month, we even had a session at the Meet and Dine in Centen, where the SMEs and the well-established businesses were networking there. So it's playing out well so far.
I like this proposal of yours to establish a justice fund which businesses will contribute their empowerment funding to, and in the hopes that it will be administered by public finance professionals as well, and not politicians. And you say that the fund will ensure real empowerment through distribution of real empowerment initiatives and bridge the gap between power and potential, but also the wage gap as well. How do you intend on doing this? What is the likelihood of a justice fund being set up, and who will be funding it if it's not through public finance?
I think everything eventually, at the end of the day, it goes down to policy. We need transformation when it comes to policies. As we're speaking about the Justice Fund, and most importantly, policies. We need policies that will protect women. Most of our women today, the legacy of patriarchy is still at play, and it's the one that affects women in terms of growing in businesses and their career fields and other platforms.
What's your sense on social grants, social welfare grants? Because women certainly benefit from these. What's your sense?
I definitely endorse that, and earlier I also had a discussion with some of my colleagues speaking about social grants, but this time now I was not speaking about it in the light of basically social grants, but I was looking at one of the studies which were conducted last year to see how much percentage that women are contributing in their household. And it has been said and found that when it comes to the salaries that they earn at their workplaces, women spend 80% of what they earn in terms of building their household, making sure that their children, they get education. So I started to imagine this thing, that how about now when it comes to companies or businesses, if I were to put it that way, we come up with policies which will mirror things like the triple BE. With triple BE, what it is said is that when you employ more women, it increases the score of your company. When you employ more disabilities, it also increases the score of your company. So in terms of equipping women financially, many people don't know that when women fall pregnant and they go for maternity leave, they experience a lot of injustices. 15 years ago, my sister lost a job because she was on her maternity leave. So as I was imagining
she
this
lost
thing,
it because of maternity leave.
Yes, because of maternity leave. After giving birth, after the maternity leave period, when she wanted to go back to work, for that matter, to make things like what worsened the things was, she was working for the government. So one of the things, if I were to come into power, one of the things that I will make sure is the day that a woman, it will become a policy for every company that if a woman goes to maternity leave, their salary automatically must be increased. That definitely, I'm gonna make sure that, yes.
How do you suppose you justify that?
How do I justify that? Yeah, so to make sure that it plays out well, like I gave an example with BEE, there are benefits that the government gives to companies if they employ more women or employ people with disability. So that thing, if they're able to do that in terms of how many women you employ and how many people with disabilities to employ, and it comes with benefits, the government on its own will give a subsidy to companies to can make sure that women who go to maternity leave, they get a salary increase to can be able to take care of their household.
Okay, and how long would the duration of this leave be? Would you keep it at 3 months?
No, I won't keep it for 3 months until the child matriculates or go to university for that matter.
Wait, you think that companies would pay women to be home for at least some 18 years on higher pay?
Not to be home. What I'm saying is, if you have 2 children, the more you have children, the more your salary will increase.
Okay, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Clement, tell us about, maybe just give us a roundup as a closing argument of why it is that you should be voted into power.
I'm losing you there.
Give us a closing argument as to why it is that Build One South Africa should ascend to power.
So
particularly aimed at women. Aimed at women. This closing argument should be aimed at women.
Yeah. So Build One is the beautiful thing now as we speak. I think we are counted amongst few political parties in South Africa where we don't only speak advocacy for equality in our country without putting it into motion. We've already put it into motion. Our leaders or presidents in the party, the president of the party, Musi Maimane, is the male, and then the vice president of the party is the female. So that on its own, as a point of departure of where we are going as a party, it tells you that we're gonna have a strong gender equality in terms of leadership. So we are ready. We are ready to bring transformation, and it's already seen. And even the extensive work that already we are doing so far on its own, it can tell you that we are heading somewhere.
Thank you very much for your time, Clement, this morning. Clement Chauke from Build One South Africa, and he is a Parliament's candidate for 2024, speaking there to us about some of their initiatives in accelerating economic opportunities for women in South Africa. We are going to take a musical break and come back and speak to an award-winning fashion designer and founder and owner of Fashion Week Studio.
You've been listening to a Power 98.7 podcast. For more podcasts, visit power987.co.za or subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.